We are on day 4 and we are about a day and a half into what I was hoping we would accomplish at this point. So we're like $400 over budget now. In this video, we are upcycling a door that was originally painted white, but we wanted to strip it and stain it so that it matched the rest of our doors in our space. And then while we were at it, we figured we might as well hang another door, do some trim, maybe took off a little bit more than we should have, but let's get to it.
So first we had to go get all of our supplies, and then we had our helpers here carrying in stuff. And then it was time to scrape these doors. Now, these doors were covered in white paint, so we used a heat gun to try to get it off. Did it work? Kind of. I wouldn't have wanted to scrape these without the heat gun, but it still was pretty time consuming. I was hoping we could finish in a day, but yeah.
We are on day 4 and we are about a day and a half into what I was hoping we would accomplish at this point. So I'm hoping once we get to the painting and the staining, we'll start catching up with some time here.
And of course, I was a little bit optimistic with how long the sanding would take as well.
And barely any time in, and the sander is smoking and not working. We got to get a new sander.
Okay, so budget-wise, I was so excited that I had everything. We were getting it all, and it was coming in right on budget. And then I realized I totally forgot to put in the trim and the frames for the doors and the budget. And then the orbital sandal just died. So we're like $400 over budget now. So hopefully this is it. And we can start speeding up and not spending any more money. So we have moved on to stain now, which is super exciting because it felt like it took forever just to get everything ready and get all the supplies. Still feeling like we're a little bit behind, but now it's starting to feel like we're actually making some progress. Starting to feel like we're catching up, so that's good. So we are finally, most of the things are stained and we are needing to put a Varathane coat on. So we thought we would do this Varathane spray, which I was kind of skeptical of because I was like, can you really spray on Varathane? But Dallas said it worked great. He's done it before, so let's do it. It will save time. So I thought, okay, well, if it actually works, it's fantastic. However, we did try starting to use it and noticed it's going on very, very speckled. It is not working. We thought maybe it was the wind, but we waited for it to calm down, and it is definitely not.
It's like a jet spray.
It is definitely speckled. So the whole saving time on the spray coat, and then it says on it, use a minimum of 4 coats. So at that point, I'm like, maybe we should just paint it. So it's supposed to be a shortcut, but it is not working. So we are getting out the regular Varathane and starting to do that with our wood instead.
Switching to the brush was the right choice. It went on so much better and it was smooth. So let me know if you've tried the spray stuff and it's worked. Maybe we did the wrong brand. I don't know. A little over a week, we were able to move all the wood into the studio and start putting things together. This is where my budget went off mostly, all this wood here. So Dallas was able to start installing the doors. I just love this part because you see the transformation happening. All the fruit of your labor essentially starts to come into place. Although I will say putting in doors and trim is a little bit tedious. It's not my favorite. I'm glad Dallas hung the doors because that again is a very fiddly type thing of precision of getting it right, and I just would not have done that well.
And just tried closing at first test, and it's just not quite closing, so gotta adjust still just a little bit more.
So yeah, he got it in, doors closing. It was exciting.
So we have got the glass in these doors now. So they look so much better. It's been hard because we're like peeling off all the paint and getting it all, and it looks, I don't know, it's just not very satisfying because all you're doing is these rims and there was no glass in them. So it didn't hardly look like we'd done anything, and we'd spent like, I don't know, 12 hours scraping paint off. I'm happy to finally get the glass in them. I think they look great. It's a little hard to see the glass in there just because the wall color looks so similar, but they do look really good. This was the whole reason for starting the project to begin with, was these doors. And then it kind of ballooned of like all the other things we wanted to do, all the other things I wanted to do, it kind of did that. But this was the original idea, was get doors in here.
So Dallas saved the big doors for last, as they're just a little bit more difficult trying to get both doors even and closing right. So he could kind of ease into it with the other ones and then play around with it. This took most of the day still with little adjustments, trying to get it to be just right. And then we went through and we installed some new hardware with the handles so that it matched the rest of the studio. Finally, the doors are opening and closing like they should. And we put in the trim. I went through and just stained a bit to get where the wood was exposed and installing the trim and the hardware.
Hey, where'd you come from? Doors! It is so good to have doors in here. We are so happy with these. Originally, we just wanted to get doors in here, and I was just like, I just want some doors. It's time to have some doors. We've had curtains just hanging in the doorway forever, and the kids there's nothing to really keep them in the playroom. And so originally we had just gone and we were just gonna buy some, like, just the cheapest doors, like some of these wood ones. My dad said, I think it'd be really nice to have glass. And I was like, well, is it really worth it? And that gets more expensive. But he found these ones on Kijiji, and they were painted white. And Dallas was like, well, I think we really need to scrape them so that you can stain them so they match. And I was like, is it really? Is it really? Like, let's just get some doors. Is this really worth it to actually scrape them all down to stain them? And even as we were scraping them, I admit I complained a little bit just because it took like 12 hours to scrape them, I think, something like that. And I was like, is this really worth it? Surely we could have just found a color that would have matched and we could have painted it. But now that they're there, the glass and the stain, as far as how much it matches the studio and the glass, it's like, okay, now that we're on the other end, I'm like, this was definitely worth it. I just think they work so well. They're beautiful in here, and already I'm just been loving it. So one of the things with these is just a little more privacy, but also we have a lock up here so that when the kids are in the playroom, we know they're in the playroom now and they're not sneaking out.
We also kind of thought of this as just kind of a utility thing. This is a utility renovation, and it makes a crazy difference. We're like, the kids' nook suddenly felt like a room and you wanted to go explore it, and then there's like these archways that like, yeah, and it's, I don't know, it just like, it was amazing how much more finished everything felt. We weren't expecting that. We thought we were just making a barrier for the kids to not be able to escape from. And instead, we ended up with a really beautiful renovation, I feel like. Yeah, is that you and Mommy?
Well, thanks for watching and join us. Hope you enjoyed this video.